Super excited to be opening up day 5, our final day of this event. We've had a weekend of amazing speedruns. I've had fun popping in every now and then all weekend and hanging out, watching some fantastic speedruns for a really good cause. If you're joining us for the first time right early this morning, then let me introduce you again to Saving Sarah. We are here supporting Doodleplex, also known as Sarah, with the Saving Sarah Mutual Aid event running from Wednesday, October 1st to Sunday, October 5th. This is unfortunately the final day, but we've done a ton to help her in her current housing insecurity and her financial instability. Every donation goes directly towards securing her housing and helping her in her financial need for Doodleplex. And she is a super valuable and very strong, powerful volunteer community member. She helps with all sorts of events, including this one, and is just an absolute powerhouse. So if you want to support volunteers like Doodleplex, you can type !donate in the chat in order to support Sarah herself. And of course, today is the final day event. It wouldn't be the final day without some amazing runs. We have a whole host of really fantastic speedruns for you all today. I am quite excited. Today is going to be just ridiculous. So if you want to see that, you can go to the schedule and chat now. And if you want good reason to donate, we have opened up an incentive this morning for our Neva run later today with Soulmass. We will have all secret levels, or all collectibles. Adds in a bunch of new collectibles to the run, upgrading it from any percent to all collectibles. And Soulmass will go out of their way to collect all of the hidden collectibles throughout the run, and it adds about 7 minutes to that run. So Neva is a really beautiful 2D platformer if you've never seen it before. It is very entrancing to sit down and watch, so 7 more minutes of very beautiful 2D platformer gameplay. Hey, look, I'm a fan of that, but you might already know that if you know much about me. Already see some of the early worms catching the metaphorical worm that is Saving Sarah at twitch.tv/doodleplex. Let me get a 1 if you got that worm. Alright, and you will not have to wait much longer for that worm to appear, because we are ready with our first run of the day. Kicking off today is ateatree running Mega Man X 100%. T, how you doing, bud?
Extreme yesterday. This is like that, but older. So, yeah, I'm doing all right. What was this about, a worm?
Don't worry about it. It's probably fine.
Okay, sure. We'll worry about it later. Yeah, no, this is like one of the predecessors of the modern like action platformer. comes from the lineage of the classic Mega Man games, so it carries a lot of that in terms of like precision of movements. This was also an SNES game that did not include an expansion chip. So a lot of what we'll be doing today is avoiding slowdown across the course of the game. Like a lot of the routing that you have to do is specifically to control for that. But we'll get into it when we get there. Feel free to give me any vibe checks on what you like or don't like about this game, because I know, you know, this era of games isn't necessarily your thing so much, but I'm curious to know what you think as we go through it. Just making sure my dash is bound to the button that I like. That's not the default binding, but without too much further ado, we'll get it underway. One of the other things I wanted to see, since we're playing the Japanese version, you see Rockman X on the title screen here. When we get to the names for each Reploid, for each Maverick boss, I'll tell you the English name as we see the Japanese name on screen, and you tell me which one you like better. Without too much further ado, we'll get it started in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, nope. I lost out to the title screen. That's fine. We'll take the extra couple of seconds. Not a big deal. But yeah, this is Central Highway. This is the first game in the Mega Man series that actually includes an intro stage, because the gameplay is kind of fundamentally different from the classic Mega Man series. They give you this stage as a way to kind of play with your abilities. One of the first things that you'll learn here is that hitbox sizes are kind of different than you'd expect. I can fire some of these attacks under enemy hitboxes and kind of still hit them from below. We're also, ooh, extra life. That's nice to have. We'll probably need at least one of those later, so not having to go out of our way to get it is great. Also, the idea of setting you up with mini bosses pretty much right away. Got a good pattern here, getting the minigun out from the mini boss. Didn't quite get our APM up enough. Firing our standard lemon or Mega Buster pellet that does 1 damage is actually the fastest way to take these enemies out. Here, we're going to have to take contact damage. You see just how quickly our health goes down as a result of that. So we have about half health right now, which means a technique we want to try later in the level called task cars, which is setting up some enemies in basically the same pattern that the task would use. May or may not work. We'll have to figure it out when we get there. You also see me jumping over some of these falling platforms in the level. And that is because, as I mentioned a little bit ago, it's all like lag control. Oh, some landmines there. I don't want to get too much health because we actually need to have low health for the end of the level here. So I'm not going to defeat that second car. I'm going to have it chase me. I'm going to try to have it catch up. All right, I didn't expect to be on the front scoop here, but this will probably work out. I do want to take a little bit of damage here.
Does Mega Man have a license and registration for this car?
Absolutely not.
Okay, perfect. I'd love to hear it.
Did that work? No, I'm going to have to take a third car. Dang. Oh, jeez. All right, wow.
Okay, there's been an accident in the Central Highway.
that's what you get for asking me to get a license.
Is looking in rough shape.
Yeah.
You know what? That's fair. He was breaking the law, I guess.
Exactly. Okay, so what's supposed to happen is that this carrier is basically supposed to track along with us. This is more in the line of what I was expecting, to which point I can defeat the car here as close to the back wing of the carrier as we can, because otherwise in this cutscene it has to go out to being overhead on us. And unfortunately, now we have full health, so we're going to have to let Vile defeat us as quickly as possible. Yeah, you know, like if you're playing this game casually, this is, hey, I'm trying to fight this boss and it's absolutely kicking my butt. It has no health bar. Can I actually defeat it? Does this work the same way as the classic Mega Man series? And the answer is no. This is a fake out because Vile is just way stronger than you. This is a new line of Mavericks in the time that Rockman has been asleep since becoming Rockman X. And you stand no chance in the form that you're at now. But one of the other new type Reploids, Zero, is here to save the day. Zero is, I feel like, who most of us wish we could be when we grew up. He's got the super-powered buster, the long hair. He teaches you how to do a charge shot if you haven't seen that before or didn't know how to do it yourself. Yeah, JD Puppy is referring to exactly what I'm alluding to right now, which is the sequelitis video from Ego Raptor, teaching you the value of the introductory scene, all that cool stuff. And of course, the classic line, riding on cars. But yeah, we're off into our first boss. This is Chill Penguin, or as known in this version, Icy Penguigo. Laws, what do you think? Which one of those is better?
That's way cooler.
Right? I thought so too. There aren't a ton that change a bunch, but that's one of the ones that definitely gets the upgrade in the JP version. Didn't quite get that lineup the way I like. Ideally, we would have passed right through that without having to stop for anything. There's a lot of things that are like that where the long and short, and I didn't get into this in the intro, is that you've seen a lot of people so far this week and this weekend who are running like games they've been working on for years that are hyper optimized. They're at the top of their game. This is not that. This is me choosing to pick up a game that's super popular that like I've always kind of been interested in, but this is as much as I could get my head around this game in about 2 months since Oz reached out to me and I'm like, hey, I've kind of always wanted to run this. We're actually doing a little bit of optimization there where if you've noticed, X turned around very briefly on these slopes because before we have this piece, the leg upgrade, if you move up a slope surface right after going down, you actually get extra height. So it saved us, oh, I don't know, about 1/10 of a second each time we did it. Just these tiny little optimizations. And now we have the leg piece, so Mega Man X can begin properly because our entire mode of movement has fundamentally changed. We are no longer moving like Mega Man, or even like the version of Mega Man from like Mega Man 5 and 6, where there was a slide jump. We also see the mechs as we saw in Mega Man Extreme 2 yesterday. But yeah, so I've been running this for about 2 months. This is not the hardest version, like the hardest routing of this category. There is a trick that extremely high-level runners do that we'll talk about when we get there called Iceless. That is multi-frame perfect in terms of both setup, like the pixel you need to be on a wall to make it work, and the execution. It's wild. I've managed it before, but not in a marathon setting. Or not in any sort of live run, to be honest with you. On to our first boss. This is largely about pattern manipulation. The less one of these slides we see, the happier we are. We also have to be very careful about actually bumping into Chill Penguin because contact damage is extremely scary until we have the armor piece upgrade. It's like 4 damage minimum from bumping into something, and we don't have a ton of health right now because we haven't gotten any of the upgrades. Remember to do my dash in while not hitting his freeze breath, because we want to be in the middle of the screen whenever we finish off a boss, because otherwise X has to walk there, and that's just a little bit more time that we lose. But that's 1 Maverick down.
That's 1 big boom.
Oh, I'm gonna get up to 8 then. Nice.
We gotta mix our generations humor together.
Oh, absolutely.
We gotta come together.
Okay, so Storm Eagle or Storm Eagle. I feel like that's just kind of putting a hat on a hat. It's a little bit of unnecessary ornamentation, but not a bad name either way. That's totally... You didn't see anything. You definitely didn't see me drop into that pit twice. It's cool. I got an extra life earlier.
Can we do that again?
No. Hopefully not.
Okay. I see. I get it. That's fair.
All right, now we're up to, so we saw the capsule upgrade, but there are also 2 other kinds of upgrades, heart tanks and sub-tanks. Heart tanks increase your maximum health by 2 points, and sub-tanks give you an extra health tank that you can pull from later. You do have to go into the menu to get it, so ideally we don't want to ever have to do that, but it's nice to have for a couple of purposes later.
See, I didn't realize Mega Man X was a Metroidvania. I'm surprised learning this.
Like, yes, but also ideally we only have to do 1 set of revisits at any point. Oh boy, no. All right, now,
almost.
Yeah, this is...
That was a close clutch though.
It's basically, it goes really smoothly if you have the pattern. But it's all about getting everything set up with the right pattern. I don't have to do the heart tank now, but it also means the platforms later aren't going to be on the pattern I expect them to be, so it's going to be all reading. I was expecting to have comms here with me today, so if I'm a little bit feeling like I have my hands full, that's part of why, but nevertheless, we soldier on. There is an extra life in this level, so I'm just going to take the extra couple of seconds to go grab it. Yeah, these patterns are all off. I'm probably just going to take it 1 platform at a time now, especially since the basically the enemies here respawn every open platform that you haven't already gone to. So like the first platform that you haven't gone across yet, it'll have one of those show up. And so if you're not counting, or if you're not on a platform you already know, that can absolutely sneak up on you. This is basically what happened to me the first time when I took a death. Time for ultimately the least consequential upgrade capsule in the game. This is the head part, which you get a demonstration on what it does here, and we'll use this like 3 times ever. So don't worry about it too much. Yep, we can break some rocks now. All right, I'm gonna make a slight detour up here.
Rock and Rockman, I see.
Indeed. We need the extra lives because there is a point later where to finish the 100% and to make the final boss levels significantly more possible, we're going to be getting the final upgrade, which requires us to lose on a level essentially 4 times. So there's going to be a portion at the end that's going to be great for anything you need to read out, because I'm basically just going to be running into a pit at the end of the level several times in a row. But for now, it's Storm Eagle. This is a boss where you don't want to come in with a charge shot, because we had to wait for the sail of the ship to be destroyed, which is a particle effect. And the charging, the particles around X when that happens, also count as more sprites that the game needs to keep track of. So if you have a charge shot when you come up here, it slows things down. One thing we haven't mentioned is that what we call dash lemons, if you're dashing and shooting at the same time, that does 2 damage instead of 1, like a standard lemon that you just fire when you are moving or standing. So Storm Eagle does not take 3 damage from a fully charged shot, so there's no reason not to do the dash shots whenever you get the chance. It just means that your hurt box is smaller. So whenever he is grounded, we want to fire those dashing lemons at him like we did. All right, on into stage number 3. This is probably the biggest name change and the biggest glow up from Flame Mammoth to Burning Numander. I really like this one.
God, that's actually so much sicker. What?
Right? All right, we got some bots here. If it had been all the big robot heads, I would have stayed across the top because those platforms let you move a little bit faster. But yeah, having to deal with the robots that shoot stuff. Oh, I think that, yeah, we're gonna have to come back to this one. All right, we're gonna defeat the boss. We're gonna grab a couple of quick upgrades and come back. And that is why our estimate is what it is. That's one of the tricks that you can absolutely just not succeed on, which means we're gonna have to do this boss, not Buster only. We actually still have the tornado that we need to defeat the boss, but everything leading up to it, we're gonna take a slightly different path. Ideally here, we'd have a fully charged ice beam, because that can go through that shield with the right timing. Everything else we'll just make work. We also don't have to worry about overcharging. The fully charged shot is a pink halo around X, and it can do more damage, but it also comes out slower, meaning that most bosses will like jump or move over it. So we actually want to be at charge level 2 coming into this boss, but we're gonna have to make a quick trip back after we defeat Burning Numander here. This is all a timing game. You want to fire basically as soon as you hear the attack sound stop hitting, so you can get 2 hits out of each tornado instead of 1. Oh, I moved slightly too far off screen because we want to have him halfway off screen, because again, these explosion sprites are more sprites that the game needs to track. So literally having him all the way on screen slows that explosion down by like 1 to 2 seconds. And then we'll dip back in here real quick. Because as soon as you've finished a level, you have the escape capsule ready to use at any time. So now we can go back in, we can get the arm part upgrade, and we can grab that heart tank and a sub tank that's waiting for us.
While we're collecting things,
Yeah,
I think this is a great time to remind everyone that we do have an incentive to collect even more things in one of our later platformer runs of Neva that will be unlocked at $3,000 raised total for Doodleplex, and adds about 7 minutes of runtime to Neva. So lots of more collectibles to grab. We have plenty more in this run. I'm sure. I would assume.
Oh, yeah.
I suppose this is a safe assumption.
We're not at 100% yet. Don't sweat it.
Cool. So, hey, if you like completionist runs like this, get your donations in now for Neva later on.
Yeah, so that's why we needed the charge to get this quickly. You can go all the way around to get this, but using that sled from the fully charged Ice Beam, which we didn't have access to because we didn't get the arm part, makes hopping up that wall possible, which is a lot faster. And now it's time to go. On into possibly the scariest level of the game. This is actually a boss who I think their name doesn't change at all. Also, we're going slightly faster by holding down a button. It makes these opening boss cutscenes go slightly faster. So yeah, a Kwanger is the type of beetle, if I remember right. So that's why its name is Boomer Kwanger. I don't know about the boomer part. That's up to you. Although the weapon...
I'm gonna assume it's like an explosion and not like an old guy.
Right.
Because it feels a little bit weird for this kid to be fighting an old guy.
Tried to go up the center, didn't quite work out. It's technically the fastest path. There's a lot of pathing that's like faster than the kind of more obvious stuff, but it's super frame precise. And yeah, the weapon you get from Boomer Kwanger is a missile, so that tracks. Would love to be at full health for this tower climb. That'll do. All right, we're gonna line up as close to the edge of the spikes on this elevator as we can. Nope, that's too close. Well, we're definitely not at full health anymore, but we should also be out of danger. Yeah, there we go. That's why we wanted to be as precisely lined up as we were. I would show off a swag strat where the top block and a half of those spikes are technically, you can jump off of them, but given where we're at health-wise, probably best not to test our luck. We're also seeing a property of the shotgun ice that isn't immediately obvious, but depending on where you're angled and how you hit it, you can potentially get 2 hits instead of 1, which is why some of these enemies are being defeated instantly. They have more than 1 health, but because the initial contact of the shotgun ice and the beginning of the spread both hit the boss, or the enemies there, they take 2 damage instead of 1. That right there is the platform where you do what's called Iceless, the hardest jump in the game. Some of these things you've seen, like X's feet or like half of X's body, like in the case of where I went to get the arm part, only part of my body was actually high enough to get up to the platform. For Iceless, it's literally just the top of X's visor, and yet the game still lets you hop up. So that's how precise it is. It's the equivalent of like a turnaround, no-look swish in basketball from half court.
That analogy is very funny.
Onto my least favorite boss in the game. Technically, what you're supposed to do here is you rush in on him with like absolutely pixel perfect precision, and he tries to grab you, which is what he wants to do to me. It's why he's rushing in on me so much. But if you do it right and you meet him where he's at, what happens instead is he just gets looped trying to grab you over and over. You know, you get to do the fun of get looped idiot, which is always great. But instead, what I had to do is I basically had to keep him trying to run towards me for as long as possible. You saw when he got below a certain part of his health, he immediately started prioritizing teleporting away instead, which is what we didn't want. But all things considered, that actually went quite well.
Yeah, that boss fight looked ridiculous, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and the worst part is because if he grabs you, it's a long animation where he grabs you, squeezes you, and then throws you up into the ceiling. So every time that happens, it's like 4 extra seconds lost, which we'll see another opportunity for that later, but hopefully we don't have to worry about that one either. Now that we got dashing, these guys are much less of a obstacle, to the point where we can literally just hop over them. Into another one of our mini-bosses. This is the only weapon part that is gated by a mini-boss. I'm gonna take a little bit of serious time here. Nope, that ain't at all. Fine, we'll let him reposition. I figured that'd be the one where he'd do that. Really? Nope, not nearly as good as I'd have liked. If you get it into a nice healthy pattern, it's like 4 regular shots and then 3 boomerang cutters, and it's done in 6 cycles, I think. So not anything close to that, but you can kind of see the vision.
I saw the vision. Even if, you know, you, like, tripped off your skateboard and halfway through,
Pretty much.
it's okay.
That was Tony Hawk saying, hey, do a kickflip, and I fell into a gutter. Speaking of falling into a gutter, time for, like, genuinely the hardest trick on this route. Not even close. Way too early.
Lucky.
I am genuinely just a little nerves here, but that's fine. We do it again.
It's all good. You're doing great. I was spending time with my good friend ateatree. I'm having a great time.
There it is.
Nice.
Yeah, so you're supposed to do that after defeating Launch Octopus, and that fills this entire crevasse with water, which fundamentally changes your jump physics. But if you use a fully charged ice sled, you don't need to do that. Because I had to restart normally these falling rocks aren't actually here when you don't lose a life in this section. Well, that's fine. It lets you see a little bit more of what the game has to offer. There's a lot of neat little interactions that way. Like when we got to Flame Mammoth, those moving platforms with the bots and the stuff that I slid under, if you haven't defeated Ice Penguin or Chill Penguin first, those are all still turned on. So it's like pumping magma everywhere, and the level is a lot more dangerous. It's something that most players won't see because everyone will tell you to do Chill Penguin first because you want the leg part.
Yeah, I think that's something that's always been very interesting watching Mega Man runs, is like, I can always sense the like micro adaptations, the very brief like left on the D-pad when you're going right or whatnot. It's always very fun to watch, I think.
Oh yeah, like a lot of modern movement games, I think, picked up little things from here and there and were like, hey, what if you could use that to build more momentum? That'd be pretty sweet, right? And the answer is yes. Like, honestly, if there was a system like that here, I would totally do it. That was a boss fight.
It certainly didn't look like one. The other guy was harder.
It's one of those classic situations where if you have the boss's weakness, you stun lock them.
Okay, of course. The Mega Man thing.
Yeah, I'm not going to say no to have an opportunity to do that. We'll get one more later that's not quite that cut and dry, but actually it's the next boss, so you'll see it again soon. Another very slight name change. Spark Mandrill versus Mandriller. It's like, yes, it's a more accurate description of what you do, but I feel like you lost a little bit of who you are in the process.
It's like internship versus profession.
Something like that. The boomerang cutter does let us grab objects through walls, so that's what just happened there. We'll be doing that a little bit more as we go on. That's also a large part of extremely high skill runs of this game, where players will use manipulation of their own spacing to make objects basically spawn in on screen right as they get there, so they don't actually have to like go to a place to get an object. They just throw a boomerang cutter and the thing they want to grab appears in the cutter as they get to the right place. It's another one of those extremely high intensity skills, but super cool to watch, especially since what's happening is the game is trying to spawn in that object as they're grabbing it. So often what happens is they'll show up grabbing something else instead, but when it actually comes to them, it's the thing they needed. There's also a version of that in Storm Eagle in particular, where if you throw your cutter coming off of the platform where you got the heart tank, it'll get to the point on screen right as X loads in one of the platforms that took us up originally, and so you get a platform that's attached to your cutter that you can manipulate to actually fly over the entirety of Storm Eagle's level. High-level runs of Mega Man X are extremely intense and really cool to watch. Yeah, they call it Magic Carpet. So Iceless and Magic Carpet plus like cutter strats are the firmament of extremely high level Mega Man X runs. All right, Mandrill's feeling like a punchy boy today. That's fine. Oh, I was trying to do like the jump away shot because that's how you keep him on as close a cycle as you can. There's no sort of guarantee for it. Honestly, with a lot of these bosses, you're just hoping to get lucky in the patterns they show you, but you can kind of maximize your chances with certain movement. You also have to remember to keep your feet planted here, because every time you're not in the center of the screen, you're losing time against the end of your boss battle. So All things in balance. Well, as we move on to our next boss, anything you want to tell people about as they're watching Saving Sarah?
Yeah, so actually, I would love to read this donation we got.
Please do.
We got $10 from Colonel Fats69 that says, Mega Man X was my favorite SNES game growing up. I'll never get tired of watching runs, and I'm certainly right there with you. I'll never get tired of watching Mega Man runs. Even if I don't know that much about Mega Man, I don't think I've ever played one. They're a lot of fun, and ateatree, you're doing great. I'm having a blast.
Oh, there goes our cycle. I accidentally stayed on the platform too long, so I'm actually gonna have to probably damage boost off this to... Yeah, alright, we'll make this work. Because the thing we absolutely don't want to get hit by is the front end there. That scoop, that's an instant kill. So all the contact damage we had to take was worth it so as to not lose time or potentially get killed again. Sorry, you had more to say.
I was just joking about trying to get past that big robot that was scary.
Oh yeah, no, it's
I'd be making jokes, ateatree. I'm sorry.
Small bot, big dumpy. We had to ask nicely several times to be let past. Speaking of, we're about to drop down on it.
If you're in chat, yeah, tell us your favorite robot with the biggest dumpy. This isn't problematic, surely.
Yeah, we're not going to mention that Steam game Haiti, right? If you're not familiar, don't become familiar. Promise me that much, please.
I make no promises in the fear that I will break them.
Understandable. Alright, we take a quick trip up to the top of that platform. That's where we'll be back later for the Hadoken. Spoilers, there's a Hadoken in this game. It's a Capcom game. But we wanted to despawn the moving platform we came in on and have a fully charged shot coming into this to get an extra hit off of Armored Armadillo. We're going to try to hit Armadillo each time he hits the ground just so we can have that unlock as quickly as possible. And then another Stunlock boss. It's going to have a few opportunities to change its mind here. Ideally, he keeps shooting the electric shot at us each time. Nice and easy. Mammoth, definitely a boss with a big dumpy right in this game. You're not wrong. So yeah, that was Armor Armage instead of Armored Armadillo. Kind of has a different feel to it, right?
A little bit. Maybe more like War Carrier than Armadillo.
I can see that. And then Launcher Octopool instead of Launch Octopus. That just feels...
What is an Octopool? You're making up words now, I think. Maybe someone in chat knows.
I hope not. Yeah, that one's almost pixel perfect to avoid getting hit by one or both of those groups of seahorses. Got a couple of mini bosses here, but we've got lots of tools to make them basically a non-issue at this point. Plus, we only take half damage even if we do get hit by something. Gonna wait a wee bit here because I specifically want these jets to be turned on so I can be on top of this carrier when we destroy it. It is also possible to destroy it from underneath, at which point you have to do basically frame perfect movement to get out from under it so it doesn't crush you. Needless to say, getting crushed kills X. We go up there because the destruction of that snake bot does slow down the frame rate rather a lot. So if you don't see it, it didn't happen. And we're going to have another one of these coming up in a sec. There is another one of these snake bots that comes out from under the ground right about here. So using the fully charged vertical tornado, we don't have to worry about it. It never existed. We made it up. Yeah, I agree with Colonel Fats. The casual playthrough, that second one of the fish carrier bosses with the spikes, because the boss has the ability to either suck you towards him or blow you away, you can end up in that spike pit so easily. Alright, I'm hoping this wouldn't happen. This is Launch Octopus's special weapon, and every time he does that, you lose about 3 seconds. That is extremely cruel, thank you, sir. Appreciate you showing off what you can do.
So mean.
Ideally, what you want to do there... Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I guess it makes sense. The octopi are like the tricksters of the sea, aren't they?
Something like that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the deep sea that'll kill you, and some of it will torture you by making you wait before it does it. So that's, yeah, very appropriate. All right, we defeated our 8 robot masters, so it's time to go back to get the few things that we didn't have yet. I'm probably going to go fishing for an extra life or two, because otherwise we're going to have to take a continue on our quest for the Hadoken at the end here. Let me see what our life counter is at. Yeah, 2. I think we need 1 additional life, maybe 2. So let's see what we can do here. There is a section full of bats very shortly. I will spend maybe 30 seconds here fishing for a life. While I do that, Claus, if there's any stuff you'd like the people to know about.
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone why we're here real fast. Is, you know, people are coming on in for Mega Man X, best game of all time, or whatever.
Right.
Saving Sarah. Right, yeah. That might get some people mad, I think. Saving Sarah is a mutual aid event helping friend of the speedrunning community and volunteer extraordinaire Doodleplex to end her housing insecurity and get her to a better financial place in life. If you want to donate, please type in !donate in chat to help Sarah directly. We currently also have an incentive open. If you're a fan of collectathon runs, then you will love our currently open Neva All Collectibles incentive, which will upgrade our later run of Neva from any % to all collectible. Would absolutely love to hit that by the end of my hosting shift. Tell you what, we need $3,000 to get there, and I totally believe we can do that. We have a few hours to do it, so get your donations in now. We'll get to that real quick.
Honestly, I think we're probably just going to take the continue, which means we'll have to do the first half of Armored Armadillo's level a second time, but it's better than waiting on the one-up that's clearly not going to come. I say as I'm probably going to get it like on the minecart rides, doing the sacrifice play later. We'll see.
I don't know, ateatree. 99% of level up grinders quit before they level up.
Yeah, 1 XP before they would have leveled up. I feel you.
Yeah.
But we got an estimate to try to at least match. I don't know about beat it anymore.
That's mishmashment.
At least I got that jump every time.
Hear me out. If you go over estimate, that means we get more ateatree, and hey, I'm okay with this personally.
I mean, I'll be around producing as I have been much of the weekend. You'll see me in the back end later tonight. Like, honestly, I'll do a little bit of my shout outs in advance. If you ever want to see me outside of every other Wednesday on the GDQ Hotfix, volunteer at charity events. That's where you find me.
It's true. It's true. It's very true.
So yeah, this is perfect time for announcements, especially since we have to take a game over. We're going to be doing this second section 3 times, or until we're out of lives, and then the first section and the second section 1 more time. So anything you want to tell people about, any of your opinions on what you've seen in the game so far, anything about robots with big dumpies, since I think we're still on that one. Right. You can say it for free. Chat, if they want to tell me about it, they have to put it in a donation.
Right. What's that one robot movie? I think it's actually just called Robots. And it's like a running gag that one of the characters just has a huge ass. It's great.
I mean, like, for a second when you saw the robot with big, something like Big Hero 6, Baymax is pretty big, but I think that's all the way around. Okay, so I don't know if that counts more or less.
You know what? I think that is Disney. The other one I think is
DreamWorks?
Dreamcast? Or, yeah, DreamWorks? Dreamcast. Oh, God, my brain is run
Dreamcast.
to the core. Right. Sorry, I will never forget that I said that the Dreamcast is a film company.
I've learned that Baymax does the stepbrother thing at one point and gets its butt stuck in a window. Fantastic.
Right.
I haven't seen Big Hero 6, and now I don't need to.
Well, hold on, wait, pause. You haven't seen Big Hero 6?
I don't think so. I've seen like parts of it, but I don't think I've
crazy.
seen the whole
That
thing.
movie's awesome.
Yeah, I probably ought to.
That movie's excellent. No, that's fair though. I get it.
All right, so
I
we get
don't
to
watch
do the
movies.
first half
I
of
play
this level
games.
one more
I'm a
time.
speedrunner.
Again, not super long, thankfully. It's an extra 30 seconds or so.
Wait, so remind me why we're playing the start of this level again?
Because I ran out of lives, because I beefed it in two ways I
Right,
didn't
okay.
expect to early on.
Right. Got it.
Yeah, like this estimate was supposed to be super generous. My current PB is a 38.57 and my sum of best is 37.56. But this is also the first time I've done this live, so
Wouldn't fool me.
wouldn't fool you.
All right,
Okay.
wait, hold on. I think I said that backwards.
No, you're pretty sharp. I believe it.
Well, okay, that's I'm not trying to be mean, but sometimes it just comes out.
No, that sounds like you.
Okay, well, pause. Let's be nice.
No.
Let's be nice. July,
No,
September,
we're gonna have to
October.
go on this for a few more seconds before we go to the next bit.
Right.
So yeah, this is why we were doing this. Dr. Light is now decked out in the hakama and headband of Ryu from Street Fighter, and he says, "You are super great. We are in awe. You're so cool." That's literally how it translates in the English version. And yeah, now we have the Hadouken. You can only use it when you're at full health, which is why having nearly full sub tanks is also super nice. And it's time to go on into the Sigma boss fights, or the levels. There are 3 of them here, and they're all kind of spooky. If pits were a problem before, they're doubly a problem here. This is also a level where we are actually trying to drain our health on purpose for something in a little bit. So don't worry, I am bad at this game, but that part is on purpose. There we go. That's what this sort of movement is supposed to look like. The movement with the dash button in particular is kind of a suggestion. The easiest and best way to get dash movement, like I did with the ice sled to get that waterless pickup of the hard tank, is you actually want to double tap the move forward button. But being able to move back and forth between those smoothly is surprisingly difficult. Don't worry about this. I'll mention what it's for when we get there. Part 1 of setup.
I'm not worried.
Thank you. I appreciate you not worrying. Part 2 of setup. We got that text box on screen just hanging out. And we fire a rolling shield because, yeah, now the boss fight and the pre-boss fight text are on screen at the same time. Zero's not supposed to be talking right now, which is why he gets Vile's color palette. We're going to take the opportunity to switch back to our Mega Buster because you can only fire the Hadouken when you don't have a sub-weapon equipped. So yeah, that saved 12 seconds.
Damn.
Yeah, and it's honestly not super hard, so definitely one of the easier time saves in the run. Only works on Rockman X 1.0 though.
Okay,
Nice.
so now it all makes sense.
God, I wanted that. That's Vile is a very dangerous boss fight, and you have 2 or 3 frames to hit him with the Hado as he's jumping out at the start of the fight. It doesn't put you on the right side of the screen, which would also be lovely, but honestly, not having to worry about that fight and having to back it up is great, so I'm happy.
I thought you said you were bad at this game.
Yeah, usually.
Well, look, excellence shines through. Well, okay, well, this is a bad time bit. Next bit.
Okay, we've trivialized the climb here by hopping over that enemy. Now we are just able to use Chameleon Sting. Fully charged Chameleon Sting makes us temporarily invincible. So that is why we do that. Normally, you want to reach the top of this with full health, and that's the easiest way to make sure that it happens. Hey, Boomer. Bad to see you again. I don't like you. Thankfully, you dashed all the way in towards us. He has the ability to stop short and start teleporting. So the fact that he didn't do that and just took the Hadouken to the face, I'm very grateful for. You actually do need to fire these Chameleon Stingers to take out some of the enemies, because otherwise you get slowed down. And hey, do you like those puzzles where you have to like complete a line to figure out where something is going to head, like you got on placemats at restaurants? Because that's what this boss fight is. All right, we only have to do 1, so that's easy. In practice yesterday, for the first time ever, I got the only pattern where the boss doesn't move at all. It literally just stays on the right-hand side. So that was close. I like that.
You know what? I'll take easy puzzles any day of the week.
Right?
This brain don't work too good.
On into Sigma 2. More chameleon stinging to come up. The worst thing that can happen when you're fully charging one of those is, like, if you release the button and an enemy hits you at the same time, it takes away your charge. So if your timing is just a little bit off, you can have one of those fully charged shots of whatever kind you're trying to queue up and just have it totally disappear. Sorry, Danny DeVito. I liked you in Batman and It's Always Sunny. You get it? Because he's the Penguin.
Yeah.
All right, next bit.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I like that one.
None of this is supposed to happen. You know what? I'm just going to take the mech. What was supposed to happen is my timing was supposed to be slightly better, and I was supposed to chameleon sting to be invincible through this section and just kind of run it out. And then I come back up here.
Blaming the robot guy that got on your way. I kind of messed up.
Yeah, so the problem, honestly, was that I came into the mech at the wrong angle, so X went into it, which is not what I wanted to happen. Ideally, what would have happened is I would have dashed all the way past it and jumped at the far edge of the platform. 1, 2, 3.5. Nice. Because there is also the possibility that he stops flapping his wings, at which case the third half puts you right in his hitbox. One more corridor. The fact that we took the mech earlier is kind of nice in a way, because it means we have plenty of chameleon sting ammo for Rang to Bang to here. So we'll be ready and loaded whatever it throws at us. I'd still love to see a nice pattern. The nice pattern is where the eyes come at us so we can Hadouken them. Ah, it was in hit stun. Like, that was a nice pattern, but I didn't have the Hadouken on lock. Still got 3 hits there. Good enough. If I were feeling especially froggy, if the run had been going well to this point, I would have jumped out to the center to drop down on the center line after defeating the final part there, but we'll let it slide. All right, time for one of the other neat glitches in the run if we get it set up properly. It's right at the beginning of this stage here. We are going to entirely skip Chill Penguin's second appearance.
Okay, it looks like Danny DeVito wasn't recast for the role.
I think we're slightly too far off. Yeah, it's not gonna work. All right. Or sorry, no, this is Armored Armadillo, isn't it? Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna have to...
Well, different actor.
Have to hang out until it unfurls. Come on. That's fine, we take those. So if I'd been 2 or 3 pixels further over to the right when I fired that ice sled, the bottom of this stage would have been 2 tiles too high, and it would have made it so that if I walked slowly enough across that screen, Armored Armadillo would never have shown up.
I see.
Thankfully, we got the backup strat. This boss also, fighting Shin Chameleon normally is the backup strat. There is a very, very difficult trick you can do where you come into this fight with a fully charged ice sled and hop up the wall, then buffer it with frame, menu pausing, and stick the ice sled into the wall, which gives you a couple of frames to have already queued up a Hadouken motion, and you can Hado the boss as he jumps over to the wall to start the fight. It's absolutely wild to say. Yeah. All right, we're gonna lock in a Hado against Spark Mandrill by freezing him to start. Good, we didn't have to jump over. You jump just in case because he can start with his ground slam that fires 2 electrical bolts along the bottom. And if they hit you, then you don't have full health anymore. And yeah, you want full health to be able to use the Hadouken. Next section. This is something we didn't really get to talk about, and it didn't quite work out there either, but because of sprite limitations of the SNES, the Tornado in particular is actually surprisingly difficult to use because you have to keep up with its projectile to get it to do as much damage as it can, and like go as long as it can, because if it gets too far out in front of you, it basically just despawns.
I'll never get over the Hadoken just insta-killing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's
And very
funny.
much like in Street Fighter 2, I love the fact that the Hadoken sprite actually has a pair of hands inside it, if you look closely.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get one of 3 different things happening here, assuming we get it right, depending on how long we take. All right, that's number 2. That's totally fine. Yeah, X just didn't get knocked over. It's cool. If you're fast enough, X doesn't take that bump at all, but that works totally fine too. And then it's also possible for X to get knocked down onto his butt, but immediately hop back up.
Back to the robot butt talk.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. No, not purposeful, but
I see.
you can also
Okay, does this guy have a butt?
not anymore.
That's the real question. Well, that's fair. It's more hypothetical of do cars have asses, but that's fair.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways you
Avoiding
can
the
make that
question like a
happen.
pro.
If you shoot that boss, it can actually give you a slightly earlier pattern where it does the same thing. But there's 2 things that it can do. It can do that corner in like that, or it can carry you out to the wall and then slam down, and you have to be ready for the both of them. So if you try to make that happen sooner, you're putting yourself in a little bit of danger there. All right, 27 jumps is what it should take to make it up this wall, assuming your spacing and a rhythm is good. Yep, that's it. Can't be mad about that. Velgarder has a much less prominent role here than he did in Extreme 2 yesterday. We're going to do some very unkind things to this very good boy.
No!
Yeah, sorry.
So sad.
We had hands here, and he did not. And ideally, we're going to do the same thing to Sigma here. The timing is very precise on this one. That works. We take it.
Nice.
Sigma never just has one phase.
Of course.
Thankfully, in X1, he only has the 2. But this one is not vulnerable to the Hadoken. Only boss in the game to get that property. It is all rolling shield from here. Of course, the hand wouldn't be nice. All right. Yeah, so our goal here is literally just every time he stops flashing, hit him with another one. And then also avoid as much of the electricity as we can, because it does 4 damage even with the armor part. This is why any percent of this game is actually less run, because if you don't have that, also time. If you don't have the armor piece, you take 8 damage from every one of those shocks. So.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, so this run, I guess, still fell in that 10% of runs that falls outside the estimate, because we had to take that continue. Unfortunate, but yeah, I still feel good about having a run in the live event under my belt. I appreciate Osborne and everybody at Saving Sarah who gave me the opportunity. And thank you, Klaus. Anything you want to tell people before we kick it out of this run and on to the rest of the day?
I mean, no, not personally. Just great job, T-Tree. Thanks for doing the run, hanging out. It was a great time, even if, you know, look, I'm gonna say it, a minute 30, nothing.
Fair, I appreciate that.
Everyone go follow T-Tree as well, good friend.
Yeah, like, no, literally, like, if you can follow me if you want, maybe I'll do streaming more often. I make no promises, because, like, over the last 6 weeks, I've been on 4 or 5 games committees. GD Queer schedule dropping October 9th. Looking forward to that. And yeah, also been practicing for this, doing all sorts of other things. I stay busy. Like I said, find me by volunteering for marathons. It's a great thing to do, and you'll meet lots of cool people too. So nothing better than I can say for that. Just keep watching Saving Sarah. Please help us get to that NEVA incentive, and enjoy yourselves on the rest of this fantastic Sunday. Bye.
All right, thank you so much again, T-Tree, for that amazing Mega Man X run. What a fun time. Up next will be SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, and if you like robot butts, you might also enjoy our next run, because last night we hit the incentive to steal SpongeBob's pants. Right. Anyways, this was Fletcher's idea. Yeah, we're gonna see Sponge Butt, I guess. Yay. Hope to see you all hang out and wait for Bikini Bottom. Bikini Bottom, look, Battle for Bikini Bottom is a ridiculous run. Our runner, Rubbertoe, is so good at this run. I will have an absolute blast watching this. And you all will too, so better keep hanging out. And while you're hanging out, and hopefully donating for that NEVA incentive, we just opened up a brand new bid war for one of the runs later tonight, because Mario Kart World has a character bid war. Peas will be selecting between Bowser, Toadette, Swoop, the bat, I think, or Cow, and it's up to you to decide which one. Personally, look, I want to say I'm a little bit biased towards Bowser. I don't know, I just like that dude. But, you know, Cow is acceptable too. If you're curious how this impacts the run, Bowser and Cow are, of course, heavyweights. Look at them. And Toadette and Swoop are lightweights. And if you want to throw Peas off his game a little bit, I'll tell you a little secret. Top-level runners use Bowser. So you can select someone other than Bowser and maybe mess him up a little bit. But Peas, look, Peas is the GOAT. He's going to absolutely crush that Mario Kart World run later tonight. So I don't think you'll have much power, but you can certainly try. And that bid war will be open until the start of Mario Kart World. So no changing characters in between. You gotta get your donations in now, today, before Mario Kart World. And all donations will go towards our NEVA milestone at $3,000, upgrading the any percent run to all collectibles. I'm seeing all the love for Cow in the chat already, and look, I'm not disappointed. I'm not mad. Actually, I'm pretty happy that Cow is so popular. He's cool. But I will be putting my money towards Bowser after I'm done hosting. Tell you what.